Welcome to the Dairy Raid. Presented with over 20 years of coaching experience, the Dairy Raid provides commentary and analysis of the schemes, the players, and the coaches who create Wisconsin football's new identity. Now here's your host, Ryan Anderson.
All right, here we go. Time for the third quarter of Wisconsin versus USC. You know, a lot of you have been telling me, please don't break these quarters down. I don't want to relive the second half. We're scarred by the memories. And while I agree from a fan point of view, from a professional point of view, and I am a professional, quote unquote, we're going to complete the task and we're going to see what really went wrong in the second half for the Badgers offense. It doesn't help that they weren't on the field very much in the second half. Defense couldn't get off the field. That's for another video. Let's break it down. Third quarter, Wisconsin versus USC. The offense, here we go. Come on. There we go. All right. So starting out here in a 2x2 look, Badgers are spreading out their receivers, playing really wide. And this is just to kind of see how's the defense going to react, how they're going to adjust. So they are basically putting their flat defenders out in no man's land in the space in between. And they're going to play a shell over the top. So we got 5 in the box. Badgers going to do off of that outside zone. Stretch outside zone. And it's been the bread and butter of the offense this year. And right now it's not going to be any different. All right, pretty decent push on the front side. Let's look at the end zone angle. Now, one thing I'll nitpick on this a little bit is, one, when you run a play like stretch out of pistol and there is no read component, this backside guy can be an issue if he's thinking more attacking the ball than his responsibility. He should be getting deep as and then tracking. He doesn't. He just knifes straight in. So, especially when you only have a 5-man box, what I'd like to see what Jack Nelson do here is step down and then hinge and then pick up this guy in the backside. Because, again, if we look at how this is set up, we should be here, 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 and here. He's redundant here. I don't think he's going to help spring here because that's not where Brunner is going anyways. So I would step here and actually hinge back and take away the sniffer on the back side. All right, so let's just kind of see how this develops from the end zone real quick. Okay, now, I mean, I think they do a pretty good job. And they end up, I mean, Brunner ends up being the guy who gets the linebacker. But maybe if we combo or if we sift this backside guy and go 1 for 1 here and then 2 for 1 here, we're going to create a cut right up the middle, cut here, and then nothing coming from the backside. All right, but we get a good push. And Tui Walker does not mince around in the gap. He just puts his nose down. So 2nd and 8. Okay, 3-by-1. Okay, so they run a little, kind of like a little pin and pull. I like this from a scheme point of view. We got the reduced split with a tight end off the ball. And so we get the down block, the pull, but what ends up happening is, I think Joe Huber, who has been, I think in my opinion, one of the more steady offensive linemen we've had this season, he screws up. And he just down blocks when I think he should be locked on this guy in front of him. So let's look at the end zone angle, and we can kind of see it. So we're going to get Nowakowski's coming here, so we can pull and wrap here. and then Renfro would be pulling here. We need a pull check here, and that's going to be Huber. And I think that's where the mistake happens, because runner is here. I think we should be here, wrap, then wrap to the linebacker. But we get a straight down block. He ends up running into Renfro, which pushes Renfro back, which then when Tui wants to cut back, and I like the idea of him cutting back, because right here is where Renfro should be. But because he gets pushed back by Huber going to the wrong spot, he forces Tui to cut back. Now, I would be taking this wider for sure, but sometimes running backs just need to go down. And I love, I love that Tui doesn't go down with the first hit. But we end up losing more yards because he's being aggressive with it than we would have otherwise. So that 3rd and 12. 3-by-1. Okay, so we're coming down to... We end up getting a procedure penalty on this. And I believe, just by looking at it, I think we have... They're going to call Jack Nelson for being too deep in the backfield. But let's look at the pass play real quick. And again, kind of talking about the layering effect of this play. So it's 3rd and 12. And we're probably wondering, like, why is Braden Locke throwing a 3-yard route? Like, well, the idea is, unless you're just having everybody run to the same spot, what we're trying to do on every pass play is to get the ball out of the quarterback's hands and preventing him from throwing the ball into no-win situations. So if we look at his progression here, let's talk about the routes first. So we're going to be running a quick in, we're going to be running a slot fade, and we're going to be running a curl at the numbers. Okay, so his progression is going to be 1 to 2 to 3. And what happens? Oh, sorry, not a curl. That's another in, shorter in. Okay, so number 1, covered. That's where we would be looking first, but that's quick. That's capped. We don't like that. Number 2 is the slot fade, which is what this is designed to be picking up. And that would be there if this guy isn't sagging so much. But it's capped over the top. So what do? 1's not open. 2's not open. We go to 3. If we didn't have this option, he'd be chucking the ball up here in a double coverage. So, or our non-scrambling quarterback would have to scramble. Okay, and as we see, the pile gets driven, the protection gets driven back into the quarterback's face because of all the movement up front. So the ball is now out of the quarterback's hands. And you know what? If Vinny Anthony escapes a little bit cleaner on maybe that first missed tackle, that's first down. So I'd rather have it. It's the same with checkdowns. Would you rather have him throw incomplete passes? Sometimes there's a situation where you'd have to throw the ball away. At least on a check down or a short throw like this, we're getting the ball in our receiver's hands and we allow him to try to get as many yards as we can. Now, it doesn't matter because we don't get the first down. All right, so instead of 4th and short, we'd be punting. It is now 3rd and 17. Gonna take another shot. All right, 2-by-2. And here we're running 4 verts. Okay, so route progression wise, running over the top until we get capped. Running over the top and then bending it to the post. Over the top until we get capped. Over the top until we get capped. That's 4 verts. What ends up happening here, though, more importantly, so let's look at the route progression. He's looking bottom of the screen. 1, no, we're covered by because we're capped. We are deep third defender because they're in cover 3 is playing pretty good down the middle, so he could be in position to also take away the post. And also, I don't like the positioning of this linebacker. That's a very tight window. I don't think it's there. I think you got 3 eyes staring at this slot receiver right now, and we're capped over the top. So we're dead here. So we're readjusting to the third option, which is there. But what ends up happening is a little subtle thing with the protection. So let's go into the end zone angle at the box, and let's look at this. So what ends up happening is Joe Huber does a pretty good job. Keep doing it. Joe Huber, Jake Renfro, Joe Brunner. Okay, someone's going to need to change their name to Frank Wilson because this is getting annoying. Anyways, Brunner does a pretty good job readjusting and picking up this stunt. The problem is when he does so, he steps back into the pocket. He needs to stay on the line of scrimmage. Like, he picks him up, but when Braden Locke comes backside, he ends up getting his hips out of position. And what I mean by that is his shoulders are pointed this way, but his hips are pointed this way. So what you end up getting in a situation like this is when he's throwing the ball, his arm trails from his shoulder to his hips. If your hips and your shoulders are pointed the same direction, then the ball is going to be released with the momentum of your hips pointing forward. But since they're pointed sideways, the ball is going to come off, and that's going to cause the ball to tail and fall off to the outside. And that's exactly what ends up happening is you have absolutely no forward push on this ball. All your momentum is going sideways. I think it also gets maybe slightly tipped. Not a very good throw to begin with, but it ends up falling away. It should be thrown. He wants to throw it more here. And it just gets away from him. That's what ends up happening. All right, so next drive. 1st and 10, 20-yard line. Okay, so this is one of those things that they're doing here since we're not running zone read. So we've got pre-snap, RPO here, package play. We're 3x3, so we're not going to go there. We're going to run outside zone. Because we have 5 in the box, this should set up pretty well. And we'll see what the difference here. And let's go to the end zone. This is what I was talking about, what we should have done on the previous outside zone attempt. And so we do it here. So this is a good communication with Blazik and with Jack Nelson in between series. Okay, is we're just going to take this guy on the outside. They're 5 in the box. We don't need to worry about comboing here. We're going to look to slingshot here. I think as soon as he sees that Huber gets underneath, Renfro should be able to climb a little bit sooner. And then again, Ches gets pitter-patter. If he just accelerates on that line, I think he gets better yards. But it is what it is. All right, 2nd and 8. 2x2. We're in 11 personnel. We're going to run mesh. And we're going to throw the ball up to the top of the screen. Great effort by Vinny Anthony tracking this ball. Okay, so what ends up happening here? So they're going to run mesh. Okay, with a little basic route here. They're going to run wheel. And then we're taking a shot out here. Okay, so this is pre-snap. We're taking a shot. We see the matchup we like, and we're going to take it. And I like that he takes this. Now, some people have been saying that this ball was underthrown. I don't necessarily think it was underthrown. I think what ends up happening is Vinny Anthony gets contact right there. And the separation and the fighting that he does there ends up pushing him out of position. I think if he gets off of this clean here, he runs under this and he catches it, and same idea. But he ends up hand fighting, losing track of the ball, falls as he lands. Great effort. And it's a right idea to take that shot. Now, bottom of the screen, I mean, mesh was not there. The basic might have been there. But it's the right idea to take this shot. The positioning of the safety. You know, he puts this ball in a spot where the safety can't get to it. It's either going to be caught or goes out of bounds. Ends up going out of bounds. All right. 3rd and 8. 3x1. Checking at the line. Again, probably more to be paying attention to pickup, the blitz pickup here, because they're in a mug look. They're mugging the A and the B gap. They both drop out. Okay, I'd like to see cleaner footwork in the box or in the pocket by block, but all right, so we're running curl bubble at the top of the screen. We're running curl swing at the bottom of the screen. And this is a good job by Braden Locke to throwing his receiver open. Okay, because he's supposed to be curling, sitting down. I like to see better separation, but he throws it to the outside shoulder to give him space to catch and to turn upfield. It's a nice catch by Bryson and a good acceleration after the catch. 1st down. All right. 3x1. Again, checking based on alignment. Okay, and it's probably to add the release here. To set up RPO in the future where we'd be running flat and curl. Okay? I think Braden wants this back because I think he knows he should have kept this. Okay? Let's look at the end zone angle. And to me, this is the difference between Tui and Ches. At least Ches in 2024. Is Tui gets the handoff. He sees the gap. He wants to run in right away. Now, we want to nitpick. I think he presses to Renfro here, and he busts it there. And, you know, he's to the 45-yard line. But he puts his nose down, and he runs, and he's just running. Look, his feet. His feet are going forward. Pitter-patter, pitter. He's not pitter-pattering. He's just running. That gives him momentum. So when he gets contacted, he falls forward. And we get the 1st down. It's supposed to be the 1st down? Nope. The plays are out of order again. 2nd and 5. There we go. All right, 3x1. Okay, so now this is the throw off of similar action, play action. All right, so we're running curl, wheel, curl. Protection is terrible because the only person who can't get beat on this particular protection is Riley Mullman. And he sets too wide. So when 10 goes inside, he's cooked. And that just doesn't give the time we need. Also, I'd like to see Tua Walker step up farther. It's off of play action, so he's probably in the position that he's taught to be. I want to see him being more aggressive to the blitz pickup. So we would be looking 1 to 2 to 3. And now we're just trying to get rid of the ball. And we get lucky that our throwaway ends up being a completion. He is trying to throw this ball out of bounds. And he gets hit as he threw. So, but hey, we'll take what we can get. 1st and 10. 2 back personnel. I like the scheme here. So it's essential. Let's get these guys lined up. Okay. So we're pulling here. And I think he's supposed to pull and go here. He ends up pulling and more kicking, which is fine. Okay, it's kind of like the crunch trap kind of combo. It's like double trap. And because he's so wide, we just wash him down. But I like the scheme. Not a 2 back especially. So we get down block. So trap. Yeah, this is the crunch. So this is one of those plays I was talking about, in my video, which we'll talk about in a little bit about short yardage situations. So it's essentially 2 traps. Trap, boom, and then Tui gets in behind it. All right, like that scheme. Like it a lot. All right, 2nd and 5. Okay, still 2 back personnel. Okay, play action. And then he gets hit as he's thrown. Now, one thing I'll question on this, like he wants to throw, he's throwing deep. Because I don't like the leverage read that we make out here. Like, I don't like that route at all. Unless he's supposed to be breaking back in. But breaking out and then settling out, I don't like that. And then he gets hit. So let's look at the box, see where the protection went wrong. Okay. Again, Joe Huber needs to be quicker with his first step. They're full sliding this. So he should know he has no help to the inside. Play action takes a little bit long. Especially when nobody really comes across. And I think when we saw them talking pre-snap, or right there, he's talking to Tui. And Tui didn't get the memo. Right there. Play action. So this ends up taking longer to develop than it should. Now, him getting hit has nothing to do with it. He did what he's supposed to. And we get lucky this isn't picked. All right. 3rd and 5. 3-by-1. Back to 10 personnel. Okay. We're showing a lot on the line of scrimmage here. And we're going to check to make sure we get the protection right. They're going to bail out of it, and they do. We pick it up. Okay, so we're running quick in, slot fade, and I think this is an interesting way to run Y sail. Okay, so quick in. Got our fade here. And then we're running our sail here. That's going to take a little while to develop. So we're looking to the slot fade first. Too late. So we're coming underneath right away. I think that slot fade is a peak, and he doesn't like it. But we should know by eyes that this is cover 2, or palms, depending on how you want to read this. Not palms, it's cover 2. So that's cover 6. So, I mean, situation, 3rd and 5. It's not bad. I mean, we take the R's that were given, which leads us to 4th and 1 and the infamous play. So we're going to get here. And again, I've made an entire video talking about not only this play, but what the Badgers can do better in short yardage situations. And what I will say to this, it doesn't matter what formation we're in. If Joe Brunner can't block this guy, any play is not going to work. On this particular play, the fact that Riley Nowakowski thought it was a good idea to double team an off-the-ball linebacker instead of block an edge guy who is turned straight in, it doesn't matter what play we're running. Okay. Also, I've been seeing people pointing out the run success rate for the Paul Chryst era in these situations. Right? That is all fine and dandy, but what I would love to see is their 4th down success rate on these run situations when the ball carrier is not Jonathan Taylor. I'd love to see their run success rate in short yardage situations in 2015 when Daria Gumbawale was our lead back because Corey Clement was hurt most of that season. That's what I'd like to see. Like, yeah, it's really easy to be successful in short yardage situations when you have literally the best running back in college football history taking the ball. Like, no shit, Sherlock. And when you have an offensive line filled with NFL caliber offensive linemen. We don't have NFL caliber offensive linemen in this group, really. I mean, we have guys we're going to get sniffed at in training camp. But, no, I mean, of course we can be more successful in situations when you have better players. But regardless, it doesn't matter. This play isn't successful because 2 guys mess up their blocks. And if either of them do their job correctly, this play hits, and we're not talking about this right now. So what they're trying to do is they're doubling down here, down block here, down block here. They end up double teaming here, which I think is a mistake. I think Nowakowski should have went there. And we get a pull and a kick. And we get a pull and a lead. Okay? This is a power play that Wisconsin has run for decades. Except we are replacing slow offensive linemen who'd get pushed back. And again, look at the last couple of years of Wisconsin football when these pullers were not NFL guards. So we're replacing slow linemen with fast tight ends and fullbacks. It should be a recipe for success. We're telling the big guys in front, hit the guy in front of you. And we're telling the fast guys go lead through the gap. Just because it's in shotgun, people think it's bad. And again, we run under center. Do we trust Braden Locke to get a first down? No, I don't trust Joe Brunner to make this block. Now that I've seen it, he comes under center. They mug all these guys up I don't trust it. At least here, USC has overcommitted to this side. If we get our down blocks this is a first down. But we don't. Runner gets beat because he's too far over his feet and he's aiming for the wrong shoulder. Even if they slant, he's aiming too wide and he's too flat. Riley Nowakowski doesn't block the edge guy. We double team an off the ball linebacker who doesn't need to be double teamed. If either one of those two guys is blocked, this play probably hits. If both of them get blocked, this play definitely hits. It doesn't matter what play you run if the players don't run it correctly. That's all I'm going to say. Moving on. Next series. 1st and 10, 25-yard line. Again, we're going to start out with the wide look, and USC gives the same look. What they've done is they've slid their flat defender here inside a little bit more, but not much. Okay, running outside zone. Okay, let's look at the box. I'd like to see Jack Nelson control that inside shoulder a little bit more. He's too high. And when he's as tall as he is, he's got to be getting lower, getting his pad level down. Backside, everyone else here, I think, does a pretty good job. They get to the outside shoulder and they wall off. Boom, boom, boom. It's that one guy. Now, luckily, we fall forward for a couple yards. Let's look at Ches. And again, it's the slight hesitation. Right there. He still falls forward. 4-yard gain. They get Tweeza lead back there. It's a 6-yard gain. All right. It's another one of these annoying situations where Renfro snaps it and nobody seems to be ready for the play to be snapped. And I don't know if they're trying to catch USC off guard or Riley Mahlman is taking a nap. He's about the only one who doesn't react cleanly. But, yeah, I don't know. Ugly. 3rd and 6. Okay, we're going to motion, and we're going to run the snag concept or variation. So we're going to run stick, bubble, and fade. And this is a situation where everyone's all the no Fickles and the no Longos are blaming Longo for throwing a bubble on this play. Okay, the blame should be on. Okay, so let's start here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 7 on the line. Okay, they're coming. Out here, we are 3 over 2. Who's in charge of the third guy? Braden Locke. And what ends up happening here is he ends up getting nervous in the service. And he sees the blitz, but instead of going through his progression like he should be and going to his number 1 read, he goes to his number 3 read. Or really his number 2, because we're going to peek outside and then we're going to read 1 to 2. He doesn't need to go to the bubble here. He does because he's worried about 21 coming off the edge when all he's got to do is just rip the ball down the hash mark. Okay? If the ball's thrown inside enough that 21 ain't stopping this, Riley Nowakowski's catching it on the first down marker, and we live to see another day. Instead, he throws the ball so quickly that Pauling doesn't even have his head around when the ball's thrown. And he ends up throwing a hospital ball. And what happened? So this is not on Phil Longo. I'm sorry for the no Longo crowd. Okay, I will say this. If we go back in Wisconsin history, okay, this situation here, Graham Mertz throws an interception out here. If this is Jack Cohn maybe gets here. If this is Joel Stave, he probably throws the ball to his mom in the stands over here because the yips get to him. And if this is Alex Hornibrook's in the hospital because 21 smacks him in the mouth. At least we have a complete. All right, but that brings us to the end of the third quarter. And a frustrating third quarter, to say the least. Again, still good things. There's still things to be positive about. Not enough that's going to win football games. But it's just frustrating when you see a team that is close to being competent at what they're doing, and then every now and then they just do the stupid things that brings us back to square one. So, anyways, that's the third quarter. I think I'm going to go take a walk around the block or something like that. I'm frustrated right now. You calm down, and we're going to come back tomorrow with the fourth quarter of Wisconsin versus USC. So, thank you for watching, and we'll see you tomorrow.